Opinions, tastes, wants, and dislikes are some things we can control and some things we can't. In short, we are in charge of everything that is connected to our deeds. But we can't change our bodies, our money, our image, the people in charge, or anything else that isn't caused by our acts. This is the first part of the famous Greek philosopher's guidebook, or Guide to Life. You need to know that you can't control everything in your life if you want to live a happy, stress-free life. It is our job to focus on what we can control and not worry about what we can't. The views and judgments of other people are one of the worst things that can happen to a person. They will almost certainly have an effect on you, either good or bad. When someone says something mean or insulting about you, you have no power over it. If you really don't want to be affected, you need to understand this. When we read the Manual of Life, we learn what to do when someone hurts us. Therefore, the goal of this video is to take 8 teachings or principles from Epictetus's famous Manual of Life and use them to help us reach a mental state that lets us reduce or get rid of all kinds of suffering that comes from other people's judgments. This lesson will teach you why you shouldn't worry about how other people feel and how to get to a place where their ideas can't hurt you. Insults or crimes are number 1. Remember that he who insults or strikes is not insulted, but rather his own judgment that these actions are offensive. If someone upsets you, remember that it's your own opinion that's making you upset in the first place. Don't let appearances bother you. It will be easier to control yourself once you have some time to calm down. One of the keys to not caring about the opinions of others is to understand that the insult or offense is not inherently harmful. The emotional discomfort that accompanies the insult actually comes from how we process that insult. When someone belittles you or disrespects you, think that this insult will only harm you if you allow it. If you react negatively, the true worth of a person should be measured by how much they can tolerate negativity. Unfortunately, life is like that. When you feel insulted or offended, ask yourself, do I want to win or lose? Do I want to yield to what I cannot control? Let me draw a parallel with Stoicism and pleasures. If we want to stop being influenced by them, we must not fight against desire, because desire will never disappear. The difference lies in how we process that desire, if we completely surrender to it or ignore it. In this way, if you manage not to be disturbed by the insult, the satisfaction you will feel afterwards will make you someone superior and capable of advancing steadfastly through adversity. You're probably thinking of a time when someone said something mean that made your day or week worse, no matter how hard you tried. I know how you feel. Everyone has been there at some point. If this sounds like you, keep watching because we'll talk about self-control in the next principle. The second principle is to stick to your goals. If you want to avoid being swayed by other people's opinions, this is what you need to know. If your goal is to understand philosophy, be ready to be laughed at and teased from the start. People will say things like, all of a sudden, he became a philosopher, or where does this cocky attitude come from? Don't take on that cocky attitude and stay firm. Remember that if you stick to your beliefs, the people who used to make fun of you will now admire you. But if you give in to other people's arguments, you'll be laughed at twice. This Greek principle can be used in any area of our lives, not just philosophy. This principle is important because many people ignore their true talents to please those who disagree with them. If someone gives up just to avoid social problems or people talking about them, it's not a failure. It's a real problem. It's worth sticking with it, even if there is ridicule or questioning for a while. In the end, you'll be living your true nature by moving forward. I suggest you think about this whenever you need to make a choice in your life. Think about your priorities and understand the real reason behind your choice. Third, don't worry if someone says bad things about you. If someone hurts you or says bad things about you, remember that they are doing it because they think it is right. But you shouldn't assume that everyone will always follow the rules you think are right, because they may not be right for them. The important thing is that everyone has their own views and values, and we can't change how they see us. So when they judge you based on a false or unfair, in every situation, be patient with other people's views. Remind yourself that you shouldn't care too much about what other people think about you. What counts is that you follow your own values. As an up-and-coming artist, let's say you've made a perfect painting that you're proud of and share it on social media. However, some people criticize the way you used colors and techniques in your art, and you feel bad about it. You can remember that these people have the right to their own opinions and may not agree with your style. You can't change how they feel about your work. Epictetus, the ancient Stoic philosopher, advises us to treat our minds with the same respect as we do our bodies in today's fast-paced world. The problem is that we don't have enough self-control and discipline. Just like you wouldn't let anyone take the keys to your house, you shouldn't let insults or problems affect your mental state either. To fix this, you need to build a fortress of mental strength and self-discipline. To begin, you need to understand that an insult is only offensive to you when you see it that way. Your ability to keep your peace comes from within, not from what other people say or do. The next time you feel yourself getting angry or disappointed, stop, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, is it worth losing my peace of mind? Most of the time, the answer is no. Imagine the freedom that comes with controlling your emotions. Are you ready to protect your mental home and bring back peace? Keep reading as we go into more detail about how Stoic principles can change your life. What will you do today to protect your mental home? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's build a community based on the wisdom of Stoicism. 5. Don't pay attention to the idea of living in shame. If not being respected is so bad, then other people can make us sad. But that's not how things work. The truth is that you are only responsible for the things you can control. This idea is very important in this day and age. Have you ever done something you didn't want to do just to get other people's approval, like on social media? Other people's approval can be like poison to some people. We should ask ourselves if it's worth changing who we are just for a little pleasure. Is putting other people's happiness at risk worth it? My answer is clear: no. I want you to think about this because one of the main tenets of Stoic philosophy is to only care about what you can control and not care about what you can't. If someone hurts you because you let them, it's their own fault. 6th, do what you think is right. We shouldn't feel bad when other people see us following our values, even if they don't understand what we're doing. This is a normal part of growing up and expressing ourselves, and it takes courage to stand up for our values and beliefs. If we do what we think is right, why worry about what other people will think? It's important to have faith in yourself and your choices. It's not always possible to get everyone to agree with you, and that's okay. This is also true when we're on social media, where our happiness often depends on how popular we are or how others see us. It's easy to become too dependent on other people's opinions and judgments. Say you are a scientist working on a hard project. Your approach has the potential to make a big discovery that will change how we think about a big problem. When you share your research results with the scientific community, some will praise and support your work, but others will be quick to criticize and question your methods. In this case, you shouldn't change your research methods because of what other people say. But this way of thinking can make us lose our freedom and the ability to accept ourselves. We need to remember that our own sense and the ability to make choices are more important than what other people think. Staying confident in our values and ourselves will help us get further in life. Also, keep your cool. Epictetus said, "We must have the same respect for our mind as we do for our body. For example, you wouldn't let a stranger into your home every day if you knew they were a threat. But when we take an insult seriously and treat it as a crime, we let that person stay in our soul for days. After that, we let strangers into our soul when we would never let them into our home. Imagine you have a close friend that you always trust and share personal secrets with. One day, you overhear that friend giving you a bad review and telling someone a secret that you told them in confidence. At first, you may feel very angry and hurt. You may feel like your soul has been violated and you have lost all trust in that friend. In this case, you can think that you let that friend invade your soul and do a lot of harm. But after giving it some thought, you realize that your friend may have been wrong about how they felt about you and that their negative reaction shouldn't control your soul. You decide that instead of letting this event have a long-lasting negative effect on your soul, you will try to understand and forgive that friend. This will not only keep your self-confidence and trust in the friendship, but it will also keep this event from controlling your soul. Discipline and self-control are important for getting to a point where we can ignore the bad feelings that come up because of a crime. Use this in all parts of your life, even with your family. When you're angry, control your emotions. It will save you a lot of pain and make you feel better about yourself. This will make a big difference in your life. The 8th principle says that no one can hurt you. This helps us figure out why someone is insulting you. It tells us that we can't expect everyone to act in a way that supports what you think is right or your worldview. This way of thinking can be very harmful. We should ask ourselves, is it really possible to think that everyone has the same worldview as you? This way of thinking is very naive. If someone insults you and thinks they really know you, think about this. Only you know the truth about who you are, what you think, why you act, and what you do. If a stranger insults you, you should ask yourself, have I done something wrong? If the answer is no, ask yourself, can I understand why they insulted me? Obviously, you can't. Let's say you're talking about a touchy subject with a group of friends when someone starts to strongly disagree with you and criticize your opinion. According to Stoic philosophy, you should first look at your opinion and see if it is backed up by evidence and good reasoning. If you think your opinion is well-founded and reasonable, then you should stand up for it. Second, don't respond strongly to criticism. Stoic philosophy urges perseverance and control. Third, try to see things from the other person's point of view. Be aware that other people may have their own reasons for holding certain views, and they may not always agree with you. Respect their views and stay out of pointless fights. Fourth, get to know yourself. Remember that only you really knows why you believe what you do. You've given it a lot of thought and have your own reasons. When someone criticizes you, you don't need to feel nervous or lack confidence. Fifth, learn and grow. Instead of being angry, look at this as a chance to learn and grow. You might be able to change your mind about things by seeing things from other people's points of view. In the case that you have acted correctly and face a lack of understanding of the motivations behind the insult, you should be satisfied because you are the only one in the world who understands yourself the best. As Epictetus said about those who insult you, that's how they see you. Stoic philosophy helps you navigate through criticism and handle it calmly and resolutely, helping you maintain inner peace and focus on personal development. Epictetus taught us the following lesson. Do you think you will live long enough to become worthy of the highest progress and follow the philosophical principles you have been taught? The philosophical principles you should be familiar with are you waiting for another teacher to start improving? You are no longer a child, but an adult. If you continue to be careless, lazy, and always putting things off, everything in your life will pass you by.